Hello everyone, Treecks here, and welcome to the Legend of Zelda Part 4. We are in the third dungeon, level 3, which is called the Munji, by the way. Noticed I forgot to mention that. Munji is some kind of a Japanese symbol, I believe. I'm not really too sure what it is. But we will have some fun moments once we get the dungeon map, when we actually see what it resembles. We don't have it yet, so I'm going to keep quiet for now. But we'll have a little bit of a fun. Let me just tell you that. Right, we stopped at the point where I got the dungeon item, which was the raft. Something we will use once we exit the dungeon. We can actually use it, because it's not a dungeon item. Not something we can use in a dungeon. Not even in the overworld everywhere. Right, key. Let's use it on this door. Because this is where the map is. This is a dungeon you're definitely going to want to have the map with. Because of that funny moment. Right, is everybody ready? What does this map design make you think of? First thing that should come to mind is the German swastika. That symbol that the Nazis were using. Yeah, it is obviously not that. This game is not that much of an idiot. This is a Munji symbol. This is a Japanese symbol. And in all honesty, the Germans, when they came up with the swastika for the Nazis, actually based it off this same Munji symbol. So that's why there is a resemblance. But everybody still thinks of it as the swastika. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying laugh because of it, the Nazis and the swastika is funny or anything, no. The fact that the resemblance is there is what makes it funny. Don't call this a swastika. That was not a fun part of history. Something that should never happen again. This is not a swastika, this is a Munji symbol, a Japanese cultural symbol. You may look it up on the internet later, I'm not going to elaborate on it too much because I don't really have the knowledge on that myself. But it is a funny moment. The first time you see this, hey, wait a minute. Is that supposed to be a swastika? Well, no, but it does look like it. Alright, we have our little bit of a joke. Now let's continue with the serious business. We have a dungeon to finish. Let's get rid of these dark nuts, because once again there's obviously a locked door which we need to open before we can... Why are you walking into that? Come on. I'm really having trouble with D-pad for some reason. Sometimes I try to walk in a direction and it doesn't really get my input, where I get stuck in a block or on a wall somewhere. Right, now we need to be careful. We get introduced to these new enemies. They don't actually hurt you, as you can see. I get hit by them multiple times already. But I'm not losing hearts, but they do stun you. Whenever you get hit by them... Yeah, you may see it here. I'm trying to use my sword now. You can't use your sword for a couple of moments. So you need to wait it out. Dang it. Stop hitting me! Ow! Stupid, annoying things. I just want to get rid of him. All for a rupee. Thank you. Alright, boss time. Here we have Manhandla. Manhandla can be handled in several ways. It's a plant monster with 4 heads. The best way to take care of it is just place a bomb and it'll get rid of most of its heads. You can do the rest with your sword or just lay another bomb. Do take note that the fact of the less heads it has, the faster it becomes. And if you're lucky, you can place a bomb in such a way that it explodes when it's right on top of it, so all of its heads explode at the same time. But you need to get lucky for that. Most of the time I just place a bomb. It takes out 3 or 4 of its heads, and if it takes out 3, just do the rest with your sword. A bomb is a little bit too hard for that 4th one. It starts moving too fast for that. But nothing your white sword can't take care of. It's always a good moment to finish these dungeons. the best part of it, not just getting the Triforce piece, but the fact you get healed. Whenever you grab the Triforce piece, no matter how low your health is, you get a full heal out of it. Very good thing. Alright, what does the raft unlock for us now that we have that item? There's a couple of places we can now reach. Most importantly, we can get a heart container now. One of the overworld heart containers we couldn't get before the first dungeon, but is accessible now. Because of the raft. Let's go get there. It's on the other way of Hyrule to make it a little less fun. But hey, this is an old game. The world map isn't as big yet in this game. And I was wrong about the recorder being the level 3 item. It is not, so warping is also not happening. That's this game's warp item, the recorder. I've already forgotten which dungeon gives that to us. I was convinced it was 3. Now that I think about it, I think it's 5. Dungeon 5. So you can get there early if you want to have warping capabilities. But where I want to go is all the way to the east coast. There is a place where we can use the raft now. Top path, please. The bottom one isn't taking us anywhere. Right, we should be getting close now. Die. Right, let's try not to get lost. I should know where I am now. Having that little dot on the map does help a little bit, even though we don't get an actual map. Yeah, we're getting close. This is not this one. You might think, hey, raft can make us cross this. But no, we can't do anything with this yet. It's something for another dungeon. Another item that gives us the ability to cross that. No, the raft is used for these things. These docks you stumble upon sometimes at the water. If you have the raft and you touch them, Link starts rafting to the other side of that body of water you're trying to cross. In this case, it takes us to this little shrine with another old man encounter, giving you another choice between medicine and hearts. Of course, we're going for hearts again. You would be a fool to do otherwise. Right, let's move back. This was required to have the raft. And with that, I can go here. Oh, let's do it anyway. I think this is shorter. Having to walk around anyway where I'm planning to go, so might as well walk around this direction. We haven't really seen this part in a while. This was all in part 1, remember? When I was grinding for my stuff. Right, let's move here. This is where we got our second heart container. This little cave. We didn't move beyond it, so let's move into the desert now. It's a small desert. There's nothing really here. It's mostly used for traversing the overworld. Alright, let's move back up north. Because I know we can get west here. Lake Hylia is where we want to go now. Ow. Go away. I know I say that a lot, but I don't care. It's what I think of all these enemies. They need to go away. I might buy some medicine at some point. Yeah, let's just do it. I have the rupees, so... I noticed level 3 was already giving me a little bit more trouble, so... Let's just quickly get some medicine. And of course I'm going to buy the most expensive one. So I have 2 of them immediately. Why the hell not? Why would you buy 1 if you can get 2? Buying 1 is 40 rupees and buying 2 should be 80 rupees, but it is 86. 86. 68. Numbers, hard. English, hard. Help. But still, it feels like a discount. There's not really too much I need to buy anyway. Yeah, the meat, but that's cheap enough. Ow. Right, walking around Lake Hylia. This is where we get another one of these places where we have a dock where we can use our raft on. So let's just do that. And here we have level 4. This is actually one of the few dungeons which is locked behind a dungeon item, as you can see. This dungeon you cannot get into until you have the level 3 dungeon item. And the other dungeon is basically accessible immediately. Maybe not level 6. Level 6 is another where you technically need something else, but you can technically still reach that. This one is actually locked behind the raft, so... But still, not a problem. We're doing it in order, so we have the raft because we've done level 3. Right, level 4. Let's go left first. Dungeons get harder and harder and longer and more obscure the further we get. So all of these dungeons we did in like not even 10 minutes at the beginning. That's going to happen a lot less and less the further we get. Let's move up now. We have the key. Come on, Link. Really getting tired of this D-pad not registering everything. Should work fine. Left, left, right, right, up, down, down. Yeah, it's working, but... Oh, dang it. Wanted to press A. Sometimes it doesn't really work all the time. Right, fires. Sort of vampire enemies can easily be taken care of. They do split in small bats as you kill them, as you can see. But still, shouldn't be a problem. Right, now we get introduced to these dark areas. We haven't seen those yet. You can just walk around these dark areas if you know where everything is. You do not necessarily have to use this. But the way to get rid of them is use your candle and the room will light up. It's a little bit of a maze-like because of all the blocks, so... It is definitely required to use your blue flame here. There are more options to light up a room, which we meet later, but for now we only have the blue fire, so let's just use the blue fire for that then. Why would you do anything you can't use yet? Right, a key over here just lying on the floor. A key guarded by keys. How did I think of that? Right, we have another dark room. Oh my god, dark room. Don't think of the things I'm thinking of now. Makes you a dirty man. Please don't. Not too sure if anything is given to you if you kill all the enemies. No, apparently not. Right, now we need to start getting used to using the flame every single room. It's the game trying to tell you, hey, you should have the blue flame by now. By making all of these rooms dark and therefore a little bit impossible to pass through if you do not have the blue flame. Definitely still possible. Right, here we have a body of water locking us off the top part of this room. How the hell are we ever supposed to get there, you may think? Well, you know how a Zelda game works, this one is not different. If you see something you cannot do something about, it's usually dungeon item involved. In this case... yeah. Dungeon item, yeah. We'll see what it is in a minute. If we get to see it in this episode, I probably think we do. It's not too far, I think. Yeah, this is me just being paranoid of getting keys for clearing the rooms or getting bombs or anything. No, this just unlocks the door. Right, let's go through that locked door. Oh, likes. Be careful for likes. They eat your shields. We need to buy another one if they do. Usually I try to stay away from them as far as I can, because I'm scared the heck out of these things. Alright, they're gone. Now we need to push a block. I mentioned them earlier, block puzzles. Sometimes if you see loose blocks, you need to push them in order to unlock something, in this case a staircase. And it leads to the dungeon item. First try not to get killed by the keys guarded. It does happen sometimes. I have been killed by keys in a dungeon item chamber once. Not something I'm proud of. With this many hearts and the blue ring I have, not a big chance of that happening. Anyway, we have the ladder. That's the dungeon item for now. The ladder gives us the ability to cross one-space gaps like bodies of water, which are one-space gaps. You can use it immediately in this room. As you can see, if you enter a gap that you normally can't walk on, because of it being a water tile or anything, the ladder appears and gives you a little bit of a bridge in order to cross that. Really handy to use. And it's actually used both in dungeons and in the overworld. And now you immediately know how to get that other heart container we saw we couldn't reach when we were on our way to the raft location for that other heart container. This is a little bit annoying because sometimes it gets more annoying than it actually helping, but yeah, it is required. Now we can reach this place. See how it works? Any puzzle that looks unsolvable in a Zelda game at first becomes solvable as soon as you get your stuff. Mostly the dungeon items. That's usually how dungeons are designed in a Zelda game. Gives you a couple of puzzles you can solve, gives you a couple of puzzles you can't solve. And then with the puzzles you can solve, gives you an item, which you then use to solve the puzzles you couldn't do before. I know, complicated. Right, this is the reason we didn't go through that locked door in the other room. The locked door that went to the north in the other room would have let you up here, but it's a dead end on that part, as you can see. It's a two-space gap, so even the ladder won't help you here. But if you come from this way, this is where you access the dungeon map. So we have all the items now when it comes to the dungeon part. Map, compass, most of the keys. We still have one more key, I believe. Right, let's continue. We have all the stuff we need to get. We've already killed all the enemies here, so just skip out on them now. Oh, Manhandla shows up. Yeah, there's also a thing in the earlier Zeldas, especially this first one. The bosses from earlier dungeons can just become regular enemies in later dungeons. There's also a way of the game trying to say, hey, I'm making this harder. Remember when this guy was a normal boss? Well, it's a normal enemy now. You should be able to deal with him. Doesn't even give you anything, just unlocks the door. Walk into the waterfall. This is another hint by the old man. We'll be seeing this later. It's an overworld hint. Of course, there's no waterfalls in dungeons. But let's keep this in mind for now. Let's go through this locked door and continue the dungeon. Nope. Blue fire I want. Grab the key. Surrounded by all the keys. Another room you can't clear if you do not have the ladder, as you can see. You couldn't even reach this if you don't have the ladder. Alright. Ow! Stupid trap. Let's do this carefully. I have more than enough health, but still. Right, the boss room is up next, as you can see in the map. The room before the Triforce piece, so that has to be the boss. Let's kill the enemies. We have to, as you can see, the door is locked. And then we still need to push a block. This one. And be careful, don't think, oh, it's a block pushing puzzle, so I'm going to ignore the enemies and just push the block. No, even the block can't be pushed if the enemies aren't dead. You need to kill everything in the room Only then you can push the block. Alright, next boss we have Gleeok. This guy is a two-headed dragon. And just like the first dragon we met, we need to hit it in the head enough times for it to die. This one is a little bit harder because its projectiles are harder to avoid. If you kill one head, as you can see, it starts floating around the room, in a ghost form you might say. And start shooting its projectiles that way, making it a lot harder to avoid. Just do this carefully. And eventually you'll die. Having the white sword at this point shouldn't give you too much of a problem. But okay, we have cleared another dungeon. And we get healed. Thank God we get healed. Alright. Well, this is a nice thing. We have 21 minutes, I see, so clearing this dungeon is also clearing this video. I didn't want to go back. Don't be so rude. Alright. Next time we will continue our quest. Now that we have the ladder, some things in the overworld got unlocked, so we'll be doing that first. And then it's on our way to Dungeon 5. See you next time. Treecks out.